For joining us today. This discussion is going to be based on service animals inside of businesses, particularly food establishments. For those who don't know me, I'm Sean Michael Tantanarowat. I'm with the Board of Health, and I do the food and milk inspections. And today I'm joined by Cap, one of our disability commissioners of the city of Fitchburg. And then we also have Adriana, who's an intern for Therapause, which is a Fitchburg-based program that travels to schools, libraries, and other public spaces to kind of bring education and bring a little bit of it, would you say therapy, Adriana?
Yes.
To anyone who may need it, particularly at the schools. Just a few housekeeping things for everyone to be aware of. If you have your phones, either turn it off or keep it on silent just so that we don't have any interruptions throughout this. This discussion is being recorded by FATV. Very grateful for that. So it will be available on our website after this. So if you maybe not be able to be here, or if someone you want to share this with needs to review this, you're welcome to have access to it. If you need a bathroom, the men's bathroom is over here to my right, and then the female, and there's bubblers over here to the left. In the vestibule, as you walk in, there are some flyers that you can post in your windows, and there's a couple that have a Q&A on there that we'll kind of go over later on in the discussion. And then for those who may need assisted hearing devices, over here to the right, there are some with some headphones. You're welcome to grab them. That will kind of cue into everything that is being discussed through the microphones right here. Just a kind of brief overview of what we'll be doing today is Cap is going to have a PowerPoint presentation, and that will kind of go over the difference between a pet, an emotional service or an emotional support animal, and then a service animal as well, and then kind of go over how we patrons are supposed to respond when we interact with them, and how to identify them and how they should be responding. At the end of that, we'll have a quick Q&A, and then I'm just going to have a quick notes on some sanitation practices and updates with the code that refers to animals, specifically in outdoor settings. So I'm going to pass off the mic over to Cap and Adriana, so they'll take your attention.
Hi, welcome. Thank you all for coming. Just want to let you know that I'm nothing important about doing this. I'm just a person with a service animal that happens to be on the Disabilities Committee and see what's going on in Fitchburg. And sometimes I don't go to establishments because there's dogs in there that I don't trust. And so that's kind of why I was like, we need to help you guys understand what can come in and what can't. So that's basically who I am. Nothing important. I don't have any degree in this. I have talked to the needs people. I've had a service dog. I've had him for 4 years. I've had him since he was 6 weeks old, but he's trained over. And that's about it. It's just what you learn as a person with a service dog. So with that, here you go. Did the intro, yeah? Okay, so we're here to help you guys out with things in the stores or in mostly restaurants or food at like shopping centers or grocery stores. If it's not a service dog, it can't be in there. And I know that's really hard to be like, uh-oh, I know that's not. What is a service dog? And then contact information where you can, either get to us or get to Sally or get to the needs people for more information. We're out there. There's people out there to help you. But I think once we tell you a little bit, you'll go, I got it. Now I know. Okay? You, as an employee or owner or whatever, if somebody walks into your establishment with a dog, okay, and you think, wait, what's this dog? First of all, if they walk in with one of these, they're not a service dog. Ask them to leave immediately, and then give them one of our cards, and we'll give them a real leash. But yes, service dogs are not on these. Number two is, you see them, like, something's kind of weird, it's running all over. You have two questions that you can ask. You can say, excuse me, is that your service dog? Not, is that your service dog? Has ever got the leash? The person is supposed to be there. And then if they say, yes, it is, then you say, what does he do for you? Not what's wrong with you. Oh my gosh, if you say that, you're going to have a lawsuit on you. But if you say, what does he do for you? That allows you to kind of go, all right, like if you did it to me, I would say, yes, he's my service dog. He's my brace and mobility and PTSD. I don't have to say PTSD if I don't want to. I do, okay? 9 times out of 10, if it's not a service dog, the moment you ask the second question, they will go, you can't ask me that, because some people say, what's wrong with you? Okay, so those are the two questions, and they'll be on things, and you can write them down. Those are what allow you as a business person to say, sorry, no, I don't believe it. Or, whatever, please leave. If they get testy with you, every right to ask them to leave right there and then. Because if they're testy, they do not have a service dog, because that's going to affect the dog. If I started getting mad at you guys, he's going to jump in and try to block me or block you. That's not what you want. So, okay. Tasks that dogs are trained to do. Okay, this gets a little tricky for you guys because there's so many different things going on now. Lots of dogs that are in a carriage are not a service dog. Okay, they may tell you, oh, he makes me feel better. That's an emotional support dog. That's not a service dog. You will not find it in there. Sometimes you will find that they will come in with a dog and they're carrying it. That's not a service dog either. But they may say, oh, but he's keeping track of my diabetes, or he's doing this, or he's doing that. Sometimes you'll find that. But if you ask that question, what's he do for you? You already have realized, okay, it's real. Okay? If it's running, or if they come in and the dog's in, and then all of a sudden they sit down and they put the dog down on the floor and they're feeding him, not a service dog. Okay? Never. Service dogs are never fed from a table or anything. Or, I saw this, I don't remember where it was. They took the dog out of a silly cart that they had, and they put it on the table. And the dog was running around on the table while they're eating. No. Okay? I went up to the kid, I said, you need to ask them to leave. That's unhealthy, period, let alone, it is not a service dog. Okay? Also, is that the third reason? Behaviors, also, some people will say, oh, this rabbit is my service animal. No. It is a therapy animal or possibly an ESA. It can't come in, period. I mean, oh, hey, I like your salad bar. My rabbit's going to eat some. So that you might see other things. Cats. Cats are starting to be used more. They are definitely for therapy. We have a great one, by the way. Reggie's the best cat under the sun. But cats are hard to, you can't train a cat. But they can detect cancer. They can detect emotional other things. So sometimes you will find a cat. Same thing. Same two questions. It doesn't matter. Are you throwing? Sometimes they will be a psychiatric dog, just to help the person maintain where they are. I talked to needs about servicemen and women, because when I was trained way back, it was dangerous to ask, what's he there for you? What does he do for you? Because that could trigger. Okay? Now they say no. A true service dog with a veteran, they know how to handle the question. Okay? So I was really glad to hear that, because it's like, wow, yeah, that is kind of scary. Mobility, yeah. Okay, next. And we got these going up here too, so feel free. The two questions we already talked about. Once you get the questions answered and everything, if you feel, okay, this is good, they may ask, like with him, I always ask to go someplace where I'm out of the way. One, so that the waitresses and waiters don't trip over him. Two, is so that if somebody has to go to the bathroom, they don't trip over him. Now, he also goes under the table. Lots of times, you won't even know he's with me. We went to the steakhouse the other night, and he was there, and came out, and the little girl said, Mommy, look, a bear. Nobody even knew he was there. That's a good service dog. But you need to be respectful of them. Once you realize it is, you can't go, oh, what a cute little dog. That's not being respectful to a service dog. I'll discuss that a little bit more. But in doing that, you now, we teach the kids, and when we talk to the kids, by the way, this is a tangent to the therapist. We've been in Rheingold School for over 11 years now working with them. But last year we did McKay School. And we did every single classroom in McKay. And we taught the kids the difference between service, therapy, and ESA. And it was interesting because I had a kid not turn his grandmother in. You can't bring that dog in. It's not a service dog, Grammy. I was like, uh-oh. But what we say to them is service dogs and animals, they're, think of them as a part of being a health, what do I want to say, like a wheelchair. They're assistants. And, so it's a wheelchair. Would you talk to a wheelchair? Then don't talk to my dog. Hi, stay. Yeah, we did that one. Okay. Gotta move it. I can read it off. No, I can't. 2 questions. All right. Yeah, okay. If you believe that an animal is not a service dog, stay calm. That's the biggest thing. You start getting, that's not a service dog, you need to leave right now. You got to have a problem. Because they're going to, But if you say, I really don't believe this is a service dog, I don't feel comfortable with you having him in wherever you have him. If you want, go take him home, come back. I'm more than happy to have you here. But be very respectful of it. And if they start really giving you a hard time, and they're dirty and there are other things, one of the things that works for me is on one of the cards it says, back of the card, if you are found to have a fake service dog, it's a $200 to $300 fine if we call the police. Yep, that's what people will do. They're, maybe I should leave. And it has worked. And then if they give you a real hard fight, it's up to you. Do I want this animal in here? It's your choice then. Okay. And even if you see one that is not a service dog, but is behaving, it's quiet and everything, and you want to let him in, fine. The only thing that I would ask is, or for you guys, those of you that have I see Country Pizza there, where people are eating in there, if the dog is dirty and disgusting, it's probably not a service dog. You can ask him to leave on that one, because it's health. Okay? I'll let him go later, and you can feel how soft and he smells good. And sometimes I put cologne on him, just because, and we had a little girl in one of the classrooms, loving life. She looks at Mommy, Cap, he smells just like my dad. I went, oops. But yeah, so, that's another thing is it something you would want in your restaurant or your food establishment? If they're not clean, ask them to leave. If it's one of your people and it's not a manager or something, let them know they should just go get a manager. Sometimes when you say, let me go get my manager, sometimes that's enough for them to go, I'm out of here. Just not doing it. So if he does turn out to be a real service dog, be respectful. And by that, it means don't talk to him. Even when you're sitting, talk to the person, the handler. Is this seat good for you? And everything. Don't, he's so cute, or, can I get him a biscuit? No, he doesn't exist. He's a wheelchair. Talk to the person. That's respect of. And sometimes waitresses will ask, can I give him some water? What I usually do with him is I ask for ice cubes. Because a water bowl, somebody can step on, they can spill it. Ice cubes he eats. And then when we're all done, I take a napkin and I clean it up. Or whoever's ever with me cleans it up. So that it's that type. You can do that. Definitely not giving him a treat. And if you ask the person, can I give him a treat? And they say, yeah, go ahead. Probably not. I'm not going to say it isn't. Sometimes I will let people give him. The other day, I actually let somebody at Tractor Supply give it to him. But she's been asking for months. So finally I said, all right, he's not really working. Yes, you can. Okay, next. Okay. Here we are. This is examples of good behavior. Keep it up. Up. I don't know where the cameras are, so, okay. Right. So if you notice, he just got up for me. This is a hard handle, right? He has my bracing mobility. If I go down, I got him to stop me. Also, if I go down, he can get me up. Chair a little bit here, show you. Okay. Ready? Get me up. Come around. Come here. Ready? See, he came right to me. He knows what I got. Okay. Square. Okay. Go. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So I use that a lot lately. The other thing is, in walking. Okay. Left. Yeah, you'll walk. It's a little further. Okay. Well, he'll also get me where I want to be. Okay. Thirsty? Sorry about that. Okay. He will also keep it. Sits. Yeah, sits. Sits. Thank you. He was like, I'm not really sure about this. And then, so he will stay here like this while we're talking. Sometimes he gets bored and he lays down. I'm going to talk for long, he just lays down. Okay? If I know I'm going to be talking to you for a little while, I'll do this. Give her drops. He will stay there as long as I want. You're not supposed to ever let go of the handle either. So if somebody brings a service dog in, or lays him down and he says, okay, I'll order a pizza and all of this, and you leave him over there. No. Always have to have control of it, in charge of it and everything. And then keep her up. Good. Now I can put him down. I won't do it right now. But I can put him to say, stay, because Sally's over there. Let me do it this way. Here, keep her coming. Also, all of his commands are in Swiss. So you can't ask him to do anything. Yeah, I know she's over there. Ready? Ready? Sit. Sit. Good. Right there. Right there. See, don't do that. Don't let him go. I'm just going to show you. I can talk to John Michael. This is a really great thing. What you did this is going to make me happy. Keep it breezy. Good boy. Good boy. See, Jamie, you didn't go to Shawn Michael. Okay, so that is all good. Keeps an eye on me, stays with me. I'll show you that. Yeah. So I'm walking. Sally, will you please meet me halfway?
I'll make him do that.
So I'm walking with my service dog, and I'm looking over here to buy something, and all of a sudden,
Yay! Oh, a service dog. How awesome. I'm going to touch this service dog.
he's pretty good with it right now. Usually he's all over her.
I know.
But that is a bad service dog. He left my attention to go to her.
Yeah.
Okay? I usually watch. If there's a little kid, he loves kids. So I usually come in. Yeah, Sally.
I can go sit.
Also, that's a key. So that's under control. Okay. That's, I know, that's, oh boy. Sometimes you'll have, I'm coming over to, just people that will have their dogs close to them and all their commands are off the leash. The bottom line is in control. That is how if there's a dog out of control, you have every right to ask them to leave your establishment. Okay? I heard from somebody, I don't remember what store I was in, but somebody brought, it was a Walmart. Walmart is horrible, by the way. You want to see a bunch of fake service dogs? Go shop at Walmart. But anyways, the dog went to the bathroom on the floor, and the person left it. The handler left it, and then somebody came up to her and said, excuse me, you have to clean up after your dog. And she goes, no, that's your job. Excuse me? That's bad behavior. If the animal, goes by and bites the food, he has a command. It's called don't lick the pizza. And what that is when we were training them, they get 3 chances. So they put something out that they know the dog is going to want. So we had a piece of pizza hanging on the table on a paper plate, and he didn't do it. He was fine. It was his little sister. And she went by and grabbed the pizza. No. So we brought it back. She put it down. And the second time we went by, and she licked the pizza. And the third time we went by, she just was like, yeah, I don't want any part of this. She tried. So that's his command. Don't lick the pizza. Stay away from the food. So if the grocery stores and stuff, and you have your meat and stuff down, and the dog's going in, no, goodbye. Not service. Can you think of anything else that is bad behavior? I'm so used to good behavior that...
Barking.
Barking, yipping, yeah. If it's barking, it ain't a service dog. No way. I'm sorry?
In any way aggressive.
Oh, yeah. Anything at all where, you go, oh, it's a cute dog, and yeah. We were at Blessing of the Animals the other day, and I was at the back of the church to let people pet them and everything, and a guy came through with a beagle mix. And he came out, they were sniffing, and all of a sudden I looked at saw the shackles go up, and I said, excuse me, sir, I have to move in. Oh, no, it's okay. And the dog went for Kiefer. And I said, just telling you, if he connected, I could sue you. Or you're going to be paying for the bills. Plus, it now means I am out of commission. I don't have my service animal. So, yeah, thank you for that, Amy. That was good. Anything? Just have everybody feed things in. Yep. Do the demonstration. We did that one, yeah. What do service dogs look like? That's a hard one, because they can be anything. 9 times out of 10, they're like the Labrador size. I mean, that's what we all came to learn and when we were younger, is a seeing eye dog, a Labrador, had the handle. Now they're doing different things. Like, he's a bigger dog. The reason for that is he's got to be a percentage of my body weight. So I couldn't have a little lab and fall over. He's not going to get me up. I didn't want a Great Dane because they don't live long enough, and I just can't do that. So I got a dog with some weight to him, okay? So they can be anything at all as a service dog, depending on what their service is to the person. You know, do they open the doors, use the nose to open the doors, accessibility dog, that type of thing. They can be anything. They can be the poodles, the labradoodles, you know, with the crazy hair. They can be anything. So you can't be like, oh, I thought only Labradors were seeing eye dogs. Well, that's not true anymore, but also seeing eye dog isn't always an assistance dog. It is, but it's, you know. The only thing I do say is that they should be clean. No matter what dog they are, they should be clean. So,
I got that on you.
okay. Ready? Oh, they're calm, and yeah. Okay, that's true. She did this presentation, by the way, so that's why I'm kind of like, over short. Yep, clean, brush, washed. Oh, healthy and not limping or constantly scratching. I mean, come on, I'm sitting, I just got to use country pizza because it's right in my eye line. You know, I'm sitting there having a pizza and there's a dog next to me and lift, you know, no, you know, take care of your dog. Now, sometimes there are people that can't afford to take care of their service dog. It does happen. You know, check it out, see if maybe they need some help. Hey, tell you what, why don't I give you a card to, you know, Pet Supply, take them up and give them a bath. Okay. You know, you don't have to, I'm not saying you have to, but that's just a gesture, you know, of that type of thing. Yeah, they have to, you don't need to do this, but if they're going in any place that's like senior living where they have food or something, you're doing something, they have to have papers that say they have all their shots. You could do it in your own establishment, but no, I have mine in his backpack, but I don't always have that with me. But if you wanted to, you could use it. Does he have his shots?
You can ask that, but you can ask.
You can't really add, but
I'm mine.
yeah, in certain things, it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, is he taken care of? Does he have his shots? I mean, that can slip out, but yeah, you're not really supposed to, but you just hope that the dog is taken care of. Yes. Okay, next. You did that one. Oh, okay, wait, this one's kind of fun. What you can and can't do for dogs. So what you don't do to a dog is you don't yell at it, scream at it, disrupt it from its task, move it, block it, or stare at it. Okay? This is also kids. Little kids will scream the moment they see a dog. Mommy, look at that, mommy! Hopefully the parent will say, don't do that. You know, we're getting a lot more parents in Fitchburg learning. I get a lot more hearing. He's working, you can't touch him. Which is really good, but it doesn't always work. You know, sometimes you also get people with special needs get very excited about a dog. You as the handler then has to take care of that situation. Disrupt it from doing a task. So if I was walking him and for whatever reason you decide to be a jerk and walk in front of me, that's a disruption. I'm going to go down because he's going to try to block or whatever else. You know, anything, you know, throw a frisbee to him. Anything that's going to disrupt him from being eye contact or knowing what I'm doing. Okay? Move it. I've had people grab his harness and move him. Whoa! Well, I can't get by. Sorry. Ask me, I will move him. And usually they can get by. But, you know,
That's essentially, if someone's in a wheelchair, that's basically just like moving their wheelchair with them in it.
yeah, it's crazy, believe me. Block them from moving. I've had that too. You shouldn't be in here. This was a customer. It wasn't. Dogs shouldn't be in here. I don't like dogs. I'm allergic to dogs. Well, I have a little card that says, you know, and I always Like, wherever I come into, if the waitress seats me and there's people, are you okay with him? Again, I'm being respectful of you. Because if they say, no, I don't like dogs, can you put me someplace else? Yes. But I do that myself. I don't know if that's a common practice, but that's my practice. It's just being friendly, you know. Stare. You don't think that's something that would happen. But no, you're staring at the dog. Believe it or not, they pick up on that. And now they're like, why are you staring at me? I'm going to get a little bit tenser, and I'm going to block mom. Yeah, it's very weird. People say, really? Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, yeah. Don't ask to take pictures. I break that rule all the time. Everybody says to me, can I take a picture of Kiefer? Yes, I should get paid. I'd be rich. I usually do it, but sometimes if we're working and you ask me, I'll say, oh, I'm sorry, he's working right now. You know, I did say to somebody one time, if you can wait till I go through the cashier line, I'll meet you outside and you can take a picture. Okay, yeah, great. Pet or touch. Everybody wants to pet this dog. I would do it. I'd be a bad person. I'd be like, oh, what a gorgeous dog. I want to pet him. You know, but if you ask, may I pet him? Some people will say, yes, you may. Others will say, absolutely not. It depends on the handler and what they want to do with that animal. Talk to it. Oh, yeah. You know, you may go, oh, I know I'm not supposed to be loud. But don't even talk to them. Oh, you're so cute. No, that's drawing away. It's hard. It's really hard when you see a lot of, and when he was a puppy, oh my God. Everybody was like, oh, really? Another question is, a lot of people ask, service dogs, it's really hard on them. They have to work all the time. No. This dog probably gets more goofing around than any normal dog at home. Because when he's not working or when I feel like he needs a release, I take this off, I let him run around, I throw the ball for him, we do things. He's a dog. Then he's a Bernie. If any of you know a Bernese mountain dog, how crazy they are. When I take that harness off, he's crazy. So they aren't working all the time. But it is very hard on them to work a lot. When we do Therapause, we do about an hour and a half at the most. They're just like, wow. And you can see it in the dogs. They come out in the hall, they plop. So, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. So things to do for service dogs is you ignore them. If one comes up to you without a leash, this is a very interesting thing. Oh, there you go.
Without a leash or an owner.
Sit. Sit. He's like a teenager. Really, Mom? Slam the door. Yeah. Some dogs are not on leashes. That's a really hard one to find. And that's usually for a person that maybe has seizures or something, and the dog will go and get somebody and bring them back to the person. That's a very highly, highly trained dog. It's phenomenal to see. So I doubt you're going to see that in your, if you have a restaurant or a small thing. You might see it in a grocery store, you know, or something where the person's, and the dog will go and get somebody. Also, we do not have to have anything on them that says they're a service dog. Nothing.
It's not legally required.
Nope, legally it's not. Like I was saying to somebody, a therapy dog has to pass this and get a certificate. Service dogs don't, which is ridiculous. We're trying to change that. But that's why you're finding people going online and buying a fake registration thing, I'll tell you about it, the cape, and all the accoutrements that go with it. $75. It's fraud, complete total fraud. You're being taken because there is no registration. And that's another thing. If you ask them, you know, the second question, and they say, "Well, he's registered." Wrong answer. Yeah, that's just one to kind of page. Sometimes I will send him to get somebody too, just because I'm like, I can't get up right now. So I'll send him. So if he's see him and he's dragging around with a leash without me, there's a problem because he's always with me. But that's true. We just saw a person go down the street with a lab, service vest on. I was like, yes. And there's a gentleman that's got one too. Okay, next. Oh, okay. These are some of the things that you got to pick up. That scan me thing, that has the 2 questions right there that you can ask. If you forget, no, it's, there you go, okay. And the next one is this controlled service animals. This is mine. I got this from the Salvation Army store down on John Fitch. And when I walked in the door, I said, that is the most amazing poster. Because what that does is it now allows you, as the manager, to say, he is not in control, you need to leave. It gives you one step more than the blue ones that say no service animals allowed. Yeah, I just ignored that. Forget that, I'm walking in. This one, though, allows you as the managers to say no. No, without feeling bad about it or anything. Next. This one, there's also, Sean Michael said he didn't put it up because it's not as clear in the printing, but we get pretty clear on this. But this is a good way of telling what you can and can't do, okay, and the different comparison. Service dog is for one individual person. The dog is trained to help that individual. A therapy dog is kind of like for everybody. You bring them someplace, everybody loves them and pets them, and they're good-natured, and they do all kinds of stuff, An ESA, or an emotional support animal, is, again, for one person. I think Dan said something. Yeah, the bottom one says, provide emotional support and comfort to many people, and it crosses out, the service dog. Therapy dog, yes, and then it crosses out the emotional support. And he said, well, wait, does that mean the emotional support does not give therapy? It does for one person, again. That one's getting used a lot, too. I don't know if any of you, I know you have more food, but for housing, that is a giant scam for housing right now. But you can go online, you can get a fake letter from a doctor saying that you need that dog, and now he is allowed in any rental. And that's where you have dogs, peeing on the rugs because they're not trained. And any of you guys have pets? They're your emotional support animal, period. You come home, what do? You kiss your, I do this all day. He's your emotional support animal. So that ESA thing is a really tricky thing, but they are not allowed in restaurants or food establishments. So, okay, next. I think we're all set, right? I'm going to give this to her, because this is her kind of thing. And then
So I found this online. This was a survey done in 2019 of 1,395 different service dog handlers. These are real service dog handlers, not fake ones. So 92.6% of service dog handlers have encountered fraud in the way of service dogs. Over 1 in 4 service dog teams have encountered fake, questionable, or uncontrolled service animal or emotional support animals more than 10 times in the past 12 months. So this was in 2019, but still, in 1 year, more than 10 times. Half of teams, which is the service animal and the handler, have encountered fraudulent service dogs in grocery stores and or airports. 48.3% have been denied access or asked to leave a business where pets are not allowed, specifying pets, not service animals. 2 in 3 service dog users feel fraudulent service dogs have negatively impacted quality of life or independence. 59% of airport incidents occurred in the terminal past security. So this wasn't including security having to scan the dog, which that does happen. They do have to scan the dogs because you never know. And 24% of teams encountered uncontrolled dogs during flight. Dogs are very rarely on flights, but when they are, they're supposed to be controlled, and or other animals. Nearly 4 in 5 service teams have had an uncontrolled dog snap at, bite, vocalize at, or otherwise interfere with their service dog. That includes barking, growling, snapping, trying to bite, or succeeding in biting the animal or the handler, which can cause serious issues if it bites the dog. That dog is now out of commission, needs to be taken to the vet. The person may not be able to do things, like Cap wouldn't really be able to go anywhere. If someone's blind, they would need to have a person with them at all times if they want to leave the house. And that is grounds for a lawsuit. Like, you can sue someone for that. And even if it's just barking, that distracts the dog. Like, as much as they are trained not to get distracted, it can be very distracting. Like, you don't like getting growled at. So why would a dog like that? Especially if it's from a bigger or equally sized dog. That can be very intimidating to the dog and very distracting, and it could end up hurting the person. If a guide dog gets distracted, the person could run into a wall. If a mobility dog gets distracted while it's trying to pick someone up, that person could fall and get hurt. And so many other things that could happen. Next slide. Oh, we have resources.
Yeah, we gave some resources for you, but you can also, like if you go, we didn't put up their needs, but I think they have.
We did.
We have the red one for needs.
Second one?
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad. Or Sally Cragen sitting over there with, you can find Sally everywhere. Every meeting, she's city council, she's everywhere. Blue hair, just nail her. Okay, and then myself, and you can get me through the Disabilities Committee, and then the Disabilities Commission. If for some reason you can't get me, you can talk to Bill. We got a whole bunch of them here today, actually, which is really cool. So we're kind of easy to find. I do have cards. Bill has cards. That we can, here you go, give us a call. Or if there's something where, like, I literally live right down the street from you guys, so I'll come in and give you my card and everything. And now I'll go to you. I'll have to tell you why. But yeah, there's all kinds of resources online. Just make sure they're reputable.
I put a few on here. Some of them are links, which obviously you can't click, but I have ada.gov. I have needs.org, which is just entirely about service animals. If you look it up, there is Massachusetts law on service animals. You can just look up Massachusetts law on service animals. There's also Putnam service dogs. I recently found that. It's a more recent thing. Just figured I'd put it on there.
I was thinking when she was talking, I was thinking about what you said about the shots. That's in like a nursing home or a private thing. You can ask, because I actually got that in Vermont when I went up to see my brother. They said you can't come in. You need rabies thing. I said I didn't think I had to. So next time I went up, I now carry out my pack, but you did make me think about that for a second.
So it's a medical facility, wouldn't be any other.
Right. So, next question. All right.
And actually, just before we go to Q&A,
Oh.
I was hoping I'd just go over something real quick, then I can participate in that as well. So for any of the food operations who do interact with any of these animals, keep in mind you shouldn't be handling it. Any of your food service or food handlers or wait staff, they should not be handling any of these animals. But if for some reason they do, by code, they're required to wash their hands according to code. 20 seconds, soap lather, warm water. The other thing I wanted to go over is sanitation. Massachusetts adopted a law in 2024 which allows animals to dine in outside seating areas only if they have given the Board of Health notification. So for any food operator who is providing outside seating and does want to allow dogs to join their customers, just notifying us is all we have to do, and then we will supply you some basic training material. If a waitstaff provides water for an animal, they shouldn't be sharing that. I wouldn't want to share a water bottle with any of you. So the same thing goes to the animal. I believe in Fitchburg we actually had a couple of outbreaks, whether it was worms or kennel cough, and a lot of that does come from sharing the water bowls. So if you're going to be providing outside seating and providing water, make sure you're changing it as frequently as possible. As soon as you see a dog drinking out of it and leaving it, it's a good practice to swap it out, sanitize it to the same practices as you would for a human. And with that, I figured we open the floor to a couple of questions, if anyone had any.
That's good.
And if not, I had a couple of questions or things I'd like to highlight, but we have one in the back.
Yeah, so I know this focused on dogs primarily. Are there any other service animals that are allowed in establishments?
You're seeing some cats now that are service animals. because they can detect cancer and different things like that. Usually if it's something other than little miniature horses are now being mobility.
That was
I can't figure out how they
Miniature
teach
horses.
them not to go to the bathroom.
So I'd have to allow a horse in the restaurant?
It depends.
To my understanding, if you ask those two questions, is this your service animal? And they say yes, and then you say, what task can it perform for you? And they say it provides stability or a realistic service.
Right.
Answer.
Then the answer would be yes. But again, the animal must be under control.
Yes.
This is not yelling, not making noise. It's not interacting with other customers. This is not defecating, urinating on the floor. This isn't eating food off the shelves. It's fully under the control of the handler.
Okay. My question would be, can I ask that person to be seated in an obscure area, or is that an offensive type thing? Like, would you mind if I sat you in this back room?
It doesn't matter to me. I usually
Not
ask
to
for
you,
that.
but would that be a,
Usually responsible service dog people will ask for something like that.
right, I would never ask, I wouldn't ask you, probably, you know what I mean? This is a beautiful animal, you're gonna come in and I'm gonna seat you
Right,
to
I
the
would ask.
side.
Yeah,
And-
it's
and
not
my-
offensive, but you can figure, like, can I make it more comfortable if you would be seated back here than here? Or,
Right.
at the bar.
And then my other customers, I have a service animal in-house. Would you mind if this is a table I have available, would you mind being seated here? Like,
That's
is
fine.
not-
That's fine. Yep.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't, it's
Yeah.
not offensive to you.
No.
And we have other commissioners from the Disability Commission, so if any of them want to chime in, by all means, feel free.
Who's legally responsible for the dog? So you are. So say it's a dog. Like I have a dog. She's great, but the kids grab something from her sometimes and she doesn't like it. She'll snip. So it's a dog. What if the dog snips at someone and actually bites them? Do they sue the establishment? Well,
No.
because that
No.
would be the first thing out of someone's
If
mouth.
it's a service dog,
So
it's my responsibility.
it's your responsibility.
Yeah, first of all,
Okay.
God forbid that he did that.
Right.
And if somebody comes in with a fake service dog,
Mm-hmm.
they're responsible for that dog again. Okay?
Right, because on Monday nights, I have a guy that staff comes and plays cornhole, and he has a service dog. So we're getting more used to that happening in our establishment. We run a sports complex, so we do have that. I can tell when it's a service dog and when it's not, because there's a lot of commotion that goes on
And they just leave it.
with basketball and things like that, so you can tell when they're controlled. But sometimes I think my staff are too scared to ask. So is it our responsibility because we didn't ask the question and we didn't make sure that that was a service dog?
No,
that
no,
had been
no.
involved? Okay. all right.
It's more if there's a question.
Okay.
I did have somebody ask me, I forget where I was. Oh, Walmart. He asked me. I was like, wow. I was psyched that he did it because
Right.
Walmart's so bad. But usually with this and how he behaves, people know he's a service dog.
Right.
When he was training, when he was a puppy, I did get asked. But no, and this again, this is me.
Right.
I like for people to ask me because then I can educate. I know one woman that had her dog trained with him at the same time. She wants nobody to talk to her or him.
Right.
Nope, I have to do what I'm doing. That's her. So it's up to the individual. Yes. Yeah.
Can we touch on the fact that allergies are not a precluding reason to kick a service dog out of the study?
Yes.
There's a neat little card that I think you could do the allergy one.
Yep, there wasn't
Yeah.
as many, but there is a.
Yeah, I can get some more about allergies and stuff. So if you seat the dog and the person next to, I can't have them there, I have an allergy. You can reseat them someplace. You can't ask the service dog to leave, but you can reseat. So, somebody else said something back there just before you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, anyway.
I had two things. You can't ask them to sit in a different area.
Can't ask what?
You're not allowed to ask them to sit in a different area.
No.
But also, could you speak a little bit about a service dog in training? Is it the same?
Sure. Yeah, because they will probably come in. Let me answer her question first, and then we'll go to the puppies. Wait, you were going to ask?
Oh, my question was for Sean Michael.
Oh.
So in a restaurant setting, so if I have a customer that's passing through, comes to the door and says, I have an animal in the car with us, we just want to grab a quick lunch, very well-behaved animal, can we be seated on your patio?
So outside seating, that would be permitted as long as you notify the Board of Health that you are allowing it. And that gives us the chance to provide those guidances of sanitation and proper handling.
So if I don't have to do that each time?
No.
It's a one-time thing? It just
Hey,
needs to
Sean
tell me.
Michael, Sean Michael's Cafe is planning on allowing outdoor seating, and we'd like to invite the public who have animals to dine with their animals in the outside seating only. And then that would just trigger us to document that and then provide you the
So
guidance.
it is only allowed in an outdoor setting?
It's only in outdoor seating.
Okay.
So the dog in training, they will have a thing on them that says dog, puppy in training, or whatever. They're puppies. You're not going to be able to tell right off, but you can tell by how the handler is asking the dog to do something or to behave or whatever. So that's a little bit more cue into that person that's handling it. Same rules go, though. If that puppy starts barking in the middle of things, you can ask him to leave. Or come over and say, like Sean Michael said, control. That's the whole. Is that dog in control, behaving? Do I even know it's there? No.
My only question was because if I asked, is that your service dog? It may not be your service dog. It's a service dog in training.
Right.
But they still have the same rights.
Yeah, you can ask them, are you training that service dog? Yeah. Just switch it a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
So, if you see my ex-mother-in-law walking into your establishment with her Shih Tzu, that she got a card from the state stating that it's a service animal. And clearly, it's just her pet that she wanted to bring along with her anywhere she goes, which is the reason she did that. And she got him a little vest and whatnot. It looked super cute. The dog's bouncing around.
Wears clothes?
Right. So can you question a person like that on the validity of, even though they have an official document that states that it's a service animal, she cheated the rules, like a lot of people do.
There's nothing that says it's a service animal. There's no paperwork that says it's a service animal. There is therapy, and there is ESA, which
I think
doctors
that's what she
think.
got. It's the emotional support.
Yeah. It's so hard to say because there's so many fake ESAs. And there's so many people that doctors just sign that piece of paper.
Cap, if I may interject. A lot of those, I've been questioned as well, like when I'm doing market basket inspections, if there's a dog in there, I always try and practice these two questions. Many of the times when I ask, is this your service animal, they'll say yes. I'll ask what task it performs. I get a lot of laughs. Sometimes they say, it's a dog. That's not that is not a service animal. And they'll say, I have a certification, I'd like to show it to you. They have shown it to me, and many times in fine print it says this is not applicable in operations or establishments with outlining animals policies. So it would not be applicable to an emotional support animal. The service animal must be participating and fully under control. So if the dog is running around, yapping or barking or doing something, even if they claim it to be a service animal, to my understanding, and Cap, correct me or any of the commissioners, you can still ask it to leave. So maybe it's a service animal in training and it's not at that perk yet or peak yet where it's allowed or behaving. To your benefit or to your safety of your customers and your business, you can say, that can't be in here, it's not under control. If it's defecating on the floor, especially, it cannot be in here. If it's bothering your other customers, as Cap said, the animal should be under control, finding a nice spot on the floor, and under control verbally and not necessarily physically, but under the command of the owner.
The answer is yes, you can ask.
Yeah.
Question,
Yeah. No matter what, that dog cannot come into a restaurant.
Yeah. And if they have a certification, as Cap is saying, there's no registry that says that. So if they come back and say, oh, I have a certification, I have proof, what proof? I would ask.
Understood.
The only one that does is the therapy dogs. They do have a certification.
They can't be in it.
They can't go in restaurants either.
Yep.
I had a situation where I had a service animal, and I also had a retired service animal. They had two. I mean, both very well behaved, both did their thing, but that is often, not often, but sometimes the case.
That's a hard one. I don't know the answer to that completely because I know usually when you retire the animal, it's no longer a service animal because maybe it has arthritis, maybe the animal's in pain. If an animal's in pain, you don't know how they're going to react. So no matter how well they're trained, they could react because they got stepped on or whatever. I don't know that answer. Actually, I can ask, we're getting Sylvia back, dog that we had, and her mom's thinking of retiring her and getting another. So I don't, it's a good question. I'll find out.
It
for
was a
you.
situation where they were coming from out of town. It was a bereavement thing, so the animals were together. I think because of travel. I don't think it was a situation
Right.
where it would be an ordinary occurrence.
Again, I mean, if it's in control and you're fine, that would be your choice. But that's a good answer. I'll find out about that.
Our choice, but allowed under.
Yeah.
If the animals are controlled, the only comment I would have is going back to another topic that Cap had mentioned with Kiefer. If there is another animal that is under control but technically not a service animal, if they happen to lash out at the actual service animal, then I would believe that that person would be liable for any issues. And referring to PTSD, you could disrupt the dog or the animal's future ability to perform services if they're now afraid of another animal in an operation.
Yeah.
These two are bonded. These two are together.
And if it's a service animal instructing another service animal or training it, I would see no issues, again, as long as it's under control.
Right. Okay.
Were there any other questions? My biggest takeaway, to wrap it up then, is a service animal doesn't necessarily need to be identified with the red service markings, harness, or anything like that. To my understanding, it doesn't even need a leash if the leash prohibits the animal from performing its ability to do its service. So just keep those two questions in mind. I think approaching it with a calm, collective manner is the best way to do it. And if they're giving you a hard time, you're always welcome to reach out to the Board of Health, the Disability Commission for guidance. I know CAP has gone out, and I know a couple other commissioners have gone out into the real world and provided these signages, not just to food operations, but to hardware stores, convenience shops, retail, things like that. So we are available if there's any other further questions. But I think that's pretty much it.
Something that you just made me think of. There's a lot of places that they say are pet friendly, meaning you can bring your dog in. Doesn't mean the pet is friendly. I always ask, is this a pet friendly store? Because then it makes me aware something may come out, that I'm not ready for or something. And like you said too, I do have friends of mine that had a dog attacked, service dog attacked, and out of commission for a while, and then they could not reservice it. The dog had such horrible PTSD. So now there's a dog that's been messed, and now the poor handler had to wait and be retrained and reset. That's a long haul. So, well, I thank you guys a lot for even being here. Like I said, I'll try to see if I can get to your different establishments, come in and say hi and bring him in and stuff, and show you what it's like to have the dog behave. Definitely come see you guys. But yeah, and I will release him from working. So if anybody wants to say hi, you can.
All right.
Give her up. Here.
Thank you, Cap. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Adriana. We appreciate it very much.